Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, can spirituality make you a happier person? Well, definitely I think that there is something to that saying, because a life without spirituality is a life that just looks at whatever's in front of you and just believes that whatever's in plain sight is basically it. There's nothing else to it. But I do think that spirituality gives you many advantages in just being a human being. First of all, you can meditate. And through meditation, you're able to think about the things that have happened on your journey to wherever you're at. You can think back on your day, your year, your week. You can think back on friends. You can also try to find your enlightenment. And I think that that's what they mean by spirituality, is the fact that not really thinking about magical stuff, but more so about finding your inner peace, finding your inner meaning, your inner way of life, and finding also what is your purpose in some way. You don't need to necessarily have the meaning of life in mind, but I do think that being spiritual will inevitably give you a better understanding of the world, because it's not always about science and it's not always about what is in plain sight. Sometimes it's what we don't really understand, because I am a man of science, but at the same time I've often thought that if you're just thinking about scientific notions of things and just look at whatever's in front of you in plain sight, you're not ever going to be able to find your inner peace. And I think that also gives you hope. And in times of need, then I think at least when you talk to yourself, you can kind of think about other things and think about how you can achieve them and how you can spiritually evolve in that, because there is a lot of saying to that. Because one thing that I do think about being spiritual that really helps is not really thinking about, heaven or hell, because that's just stressful. And I do think that a lot of people do think about that, and that often comes from the fact that maybe if you're in a time of need or in a time of despair, such as health or money or love or whatever's happening to you in your life, you tend to become more spiritual, because you tell yourself that it can't just be that. There has to be more meaning to life than just basically whatever you see or the sadness that's happening to you. And I've noticed sometimes that when you're not having moments of need, you don't really seek that spirituality that much. But it kind of goes without saying in some way that you should, because look at monks, for example, monks in Tibet or monks in whatever country. They're super uber spiritual, and they're able to in some way do things that maybe regular humans are not usually aware that they can do. Because what happens is that we live in a very frantic world. At least if you live in a city, or if you live anywhere remotely with a lot of people, you tend to be often in stressful situations, and life probably is going at a pace that you can't really enjoy in some way, because it's just so fast. And some people like it, and some people like it especially when they're young. But I think with time, people realize that always being at a fast pace is not exactly healthy. And I think that's where a lot of monks and spiritual people come in, where they basically are always meditating. They're always seeking within themselves, seeking the answers. It just goes with a lot of things. A lot of times we can have aches and pains or injuries, and just the fact of being able to look within yourself, look within your own spirituality. You're able to often assess these handicaps, and you are usually able to pretty much pinpoint where those pains or what exactly is wrong with you, because doctors can do all these tests, MRIs, etc., but at the end of the journey, it's your body, and you are usually, if you really are in tune with yourself, you're usually able to basically know exactly what's wrong within yourself even before the doctor really tells you. It doesn't work like that for every single thing, but obviously I think, at least in my personal experience, you're usually able to tell if you have a tear or if you have a break or whatever, or if you're really, really sick. You know inevitably, even if you don't want to acknowledge it. And that's where spirituality comes. And also, it makes you understand in some way that maybe life is not just about you, that spirituality actually encompasses every single living, animate, inanimate object on this earth and the universe and all that stuff, and you're able to try to find that harmony, because nature, I mean, we're living proof that the harmony of nature and its own spirituality have allowed humans to get to this point. We live in a time on earth where everything is just so peaceful in some way. Yes, there's wars and there's a lot of conflicts that are created by humans, unfortunately, but even though there's a few natural disasters that happen here and there, if you really look at the whole history of the world and the centuries and the years, we actually live in a very lucky time on this earth. Temperatures are pretty mild, they're kind of stable, you know, it's very livable, and again, a lot of the conflicts, unfortunately, that are being caused on this earth are because of people wanting certain property, or they have some sort of problem with their religion, or they say that they should be on this land, not be on this land, or whatever it is, and it's kind of silly. And then sometimes a lot of it comes down to, I think we don't really acknowledge peace in some way. We're often thinking about ourselves, and we're thinking about making more money and having the latest car, the latest technology, looking at other people and the way that they live, and if they have a bigger house or if they have a bigger place or a better career, even though you might have everything you've ever really needed to be comfortable and even more than that. I mean, comparatively, come on, think about people even a couple centuries ago when they just had to build their own house out of wood and hunt. Now we can go to a store and buy all that stuff. We have entertainment. We are able to get stuff on TV and theaters, and there's books, and there's all these things, and it's just, we've got it so good compared to the people in other centuries, yet we're not able to spiritually go within ourselves, find that inner peace, maybe accept that what we have is good, and see the good with the bad, and not to really compare ourselves with other people. And that's where it gets very tricky. And I purposely left a lot of the religious stuff and all that out of spirituality, because I think everybody has different beliefs and I don't want to offend anybody, but at least for the spirituality of oneself, I think this is what I believe. It does make you happier if you can be spiritual within yourself and find peace. Okay, have a great day and talk to you soon.